Welcome to the Community Coordinator Training. Thank you for your interest in Special Olympics and in joining the thousands of volunteers who dedicate their time and efforts to enriching the lives of Special Olympics athletes. This presentation will guide you through the role of the Community Coordinator and its importance, not only in the community at the local level, but as a vital link within the whole provincial organization. Throughout the next few modules, this training course will provide you with key information for getting started in this role and the resources you'll need to be familiar with in order to be successful. Your district developer is able and willing to help you to answer any questions or deal with any situation throughout your time as community coordinator. So if something comes up that isn't covered in this training, don't hesitate to get in touch with him or her. In this module, we'll be discussing the purpose of the community coordinator role and the qualifications required to make the incumbent successful, the team you'll be supported by at the community and the provincial level, the duties you'll have and the responsibilities you'll undertake during your time as the community coordinator, approximate time requirements and what a year in the life looks like for a community coordinator, the duration of the position, useful resources, such as the information portal, that you'll need to be familiar with in order to be successful in this position, and a small number of key policies that you'll need to be familiar with. As the community coordinator, volunteers, coaches, council members, athletes, and families will look to you for leadership and guidance. The areas in which they'll look to you for direction are all-encompassing. There will be questions on budgeting and finance, hosting competitions, conflict resolution, and strategic community direction, just to name a few. But never fear, there are a ton of resources available to help you answer these questions, and you'll have a team of community council members with you who will help you to divide and share the workload. Special Olympics communities are a team sport. Your district developer and other provincial staff members are also always available to help when you need it. That being said, the community coordinator role is designed to be the backbone for the community volunteers and enable and empower them to perform well in their own roles, to guide the community in matters of policy and procedure, and to ensure that Special Olympics program outputs at the community level are executed in accordance with SOO's constitution, bylaws, and guidelines. As previously mentioned, members of your community will look to you for leadership and guidance. It is therefore important for you to possess strong leadership, organizational, and administrative skills with the ability to both coordinate and delegate tasks to your team members. It's important that you have strong written and verbal skills so that members of various knowledge sets can easily understand what you're communicating, and so that messages of direction and guidance are not misunderstood or misconstrued. Although not necessary, it is considered an asset if the community coordinator has knowledge of the Special Olympics community he or she will be serving. Remember, though, that if you're an organized administrative leader with strong communication skills, you'll be able to rely on your community council for matters of community context if you do not already possess it. Remember, Special Olympics communities are a team sport. It is becoming increasingly important, if not completely necessary, for community coordinators to have regular access to and the ability to competently operate a computer, the internet, and email. Many of Special Olympics systems are operated digitally, and in order for your community to partake in those systems in an efficient manner, you as its leader should be capable of regular electronic engagement. Let's now take a look at the team of administrative volunteers that you'll have alongside of you. It's important for you to understand the Council's purpose and the members' portfolios so that you can help oversee the competency with which the Council and its members are functioning. The Community Council is a group of administrative volunteers who come together to work as a team and divide those administrative tasks into separate portfolios to share the workload. Ultimately, the Community Council is designed to support the Special Olympics community's programs, members, goals, and sustainability. Together, the Community Council not only maintains the community's day-to-day operation, but also provides strategic direction for the future of the local Special Olympics chapter. This includes increase and improve sport programs and opportunities, including access to local sport programs, but also access to the competition pathway offered by the broader Special Olympics framework, including local, conference, provincial, national, and international competition opportunities. Increased and improved local connections with service agencies, donors, sponsors, and partners, with the aim of increasing awareness of Special Olympics and the community's offerings, improving ease of access into the Special Olympics community, collaborating on initiatives, sharing resources where appropriate, and generating funds for use at the community level. In order to serve as many people with intellectual disabilities as possible, we will need to continuously pursue growth in the number of engaged athletes at the local level. The Community Council should strive to employ new and creative ways to engage those individuals not currently participating. In order to have the capacity to support and serve that ever-growing athlete base, the Community Council should also be seeking continued growth in the number of local volunteers. In order for the community to expand its current offerings, we'll need more coaches available to properly train and supervise our athletes. The Community Council is designed to spread the administrative workload of Special Olympics community operations. By strategically categorizing and delegating administrative portfolios to certain council members, the Community Council ensures the operational tasks of the community are seen to thoroughly, skillfully, and regularly. Depending on the availability of suitable volunteers, the Community Council can be comprised of the position you see on the screen: athlete representative, community coordinator, fundraising coordinator, public relations coordinator, registrar, secretary, sport technical coordinator, transition coordinator, treasurer, and volunteer coordinator. In cases where there is a shortage of available volunteers, it can be possible for one member to hold multiple positions. For more specific details on what each of these roles entail, please visit Special Olympics Ontario's resource section or take the position-specific training modules. Together, the administrative volunteers provide the structure, resources, and support for coaching and sport program volunteers to focus on the athlete's experience, training, and development. The Community Council is also responsible for communicating with all of the stakeholders to ensure that all of the constituents have knowledge of what is happening in their community and with Special Olympics Ontario more broadly. The Council must regularly communicate the activities of the community to Special Olympics Ontario, follow the financial and fundraising accountability practices for SOO to maintain the charity's good name and reputation, maintain risk management standards and best practices, and ensure that neither athletes nor volunteers are at risk, nor prevented from participating for fear of risk. Employ improved and systemized decision-making for the protection of the membership and the organization as a whole, including utilizing Robert's Rules of Order for council proceedings. Establish set meeting times and agendas that cover the basic elements of Special Olympics programming, including issues of policy and procedure, program goals, etc. Create and execute a well-organized fundraising plan to meet current and future financial needs of the community. And encourage input, feedback, and engagement by membership, including volunteers, athletes, family members, and sponsors. As the leader of the Community Council, community coordinators should continually ensure the proper functioning of the council and its members. The community coordinator should feel comfortable addressing any shortcomings, offering help if a member is overloaded, and addressing any concerns brought forward by any member of council or the community at large. For more information on what a community council is, how to get one started, and for more information on how to develop new programs in your community, please visit Special Olympics Ontario's resource section. Next, we'll discuss the duties and responsibilities of the community coordinator. Throughout your time as the community coordinator, you will chair all community council meetings using Robert's Rules of Order. Please undertake our training on how to conduct a meeting for more information on this part of your duty. That training is available through the SO Learn website, where this one is hosted. You will also ensure that communication is maintained between the Community Council members on a regular basis, and ensure that information is effectively disseminated between Community Council members and amongst the community at large. You will need to determine how this is most effectively and efficiently done. Sending multiple mass emails a week with small updates is likely not the best method of communication, as readers will likely start to be bothered by the relatively constant communication. Consider instituting a monthly newsletter or email blast that contains updates and important pieces of information. If an update or request is more time-sensitive in nature, consider utilizing social media or sending a direct email to those the information is relevant for. Please also ensure that as a community council, the plan for communication is clearly established each time communication is required. In most cases, it is unnecessary for multiple council members to contact community members with an update. Consider the content of the update and decide which community council member from which this message would be best to come, as well as the best method by which to send it. Oftentimes, communication may come from the community coordinator, but remember that your sport technical coordinator should also have a good rapport with your community's coaches, and your volunteer coordinator may have certain recognition by all volunteers. Depending on the content, your athlete representative may also be a good source of communication within the community. Another duty of the community coordinator is to ensure that all district meetings are attended by a member of the community to ensure that community's interests are best represented. As well, you will liaise with the community's treasurer to monitor the community's financial position, encourage the recruitment of volunteers to act as executive council members to fill any vacated positions, ensure that all community council members are fulfilling their roles in accordance with their job descriptions, and to provide a link between the provincial office and the community to ensure new policies are followed and communicated to the membership. Keep the provincial office apprised of the community's activities, and provide your provincial staff representative with community program and contact updates on a semi-annual basis or as changes are made. As the community coordinator, it's important that you be knowledgeable of and understand the guidelines, policies, and bylaws of Special Olympics Ontario, and ensure those policies are being adhered to throughout the day-to-day operations of your community. Review and be familiar with all sections of the Special Olympics Information Portal. Act as the public point of contact for public inquiries regarding your community's local Special Olympics programs and opportunities. Maintain the SOO email address that is provided to you if applicable. Work with head coaches, your district developer, and council to complete all endorsements and games paperwork in a timely fashion during games years. Ensure community elections are held once every other year, or as outlined in the community operating guidelines. Ensure that elections meet Robert's Rules of Order standards and that all Special Olympics Ontario requirements are met, including notifying the membership at least 6 weeks in advance of the election and ensuring a staff member of Special Olympics Ontario is present. Review community operating guidelines on an annual basis with the Community Council and make updates or changes that are necessary. Ensure that all changes must be sent to your district developer for approval before those changes can be considered valid. Ensure that all changes to the community operating guideline are approved by the general membership at your community's annual members meeting. The time requirement for the community coordinator role varies greatly depending on the size of your community, the availability of other council members, community projects, time of year, etc. In a smaller community, the commitment of this role could be as low as 2 hours per week or less. More often, though, the time commitment would likely be closer to 6 hours per week on average. Each council position is a 2-year term. The position is up for election every second year. Community coordinators are welcome to stand for re-election at their choosing. Take note of the following useful resources. Special Olympics Ontario's resource section, with special attention to the risk management section. The SO Learn website, which houses training on many different community positions that you may want to pursue for your own learning. Please also undertake the National Database Training. This will be required before you are granted access to the database. Please ensure you know who your district developer is and how to reach him or her. Your district developer is there to help you with whatever you need, and you should be in regular communication with him or her. Please also encourage your fellow community members to know and reach out to their DD if they feel they need to. If you do not know who your district developer is or how to get in touch with him or her, please contact Special Olympics Ontario, who will be able to help answer that question. The Special Olympics Ontario website, which contains a ton of information about our programs, events, resources, and forms, and how to get in touch with various members of our team. Please visit the Forms section of the Special Olympics Ontario's website to locate and familiarize yourself with some very useful forms. As mentioned earlier in this presentation, it's very important for the community coordinator to be familiar with Special Olympics Ontario's policies and procedures. Knowing what they are in advance will help you direct the community appropriately through various decision-making processes. Knowing what they are in advance will help you direct the community appropriately throughout various decision-making processes. While this is not an exhaustive list of our policies, and we would encourage you to visit SOO's resource section for access to the complete list, here are some key policies that community coordinators will often navigate within their communities. Elections. As outlined in Policy 603, all community council positions are elected positions and the term for each position cannot exceed 2 years. All registered Special Olympics volunteers are eligible to vote on these positions at the community's biannual election. Some communities host their elections in conjunction with their annual members' meeting. In order to avoid a full council turnover, most communities opt to hold elections every year, wherein half of the positions are up for election in 1 year and the other half is up for election in the following year. However a council chooses to hold an election, there are some basic principles which must be met. First, elections must be held at a minimum of every 2 years. Second, the district developer must be invited to the election and a provincial staff member should be present to act as an adjudicator for the election. Third, an election notice outlining what positions will be up for nomination, along with the logistical information regarding the election, must be sent out to the general membership at least 6 weeks prior to the date of the election. Communities may choose to advertise in the local paper as well. And finally, the election is open to all current members of the organization, and an invitation to the election should be sent out to the membership along with the election notice. Once the Community Council has determined their timeline regarding regularly held elections, this information should be adopted into the community policies and made available to all stakeholders. Once an election date has been set and the above principles have been met, it is the responsibility of the Community Council to fulfill the following obligations. First, receive all declarations of interest from interested parties and ensure they have the correct information regarding the election. Second, answer any questions that potential volunteers have regarding the council positions. And third, have ballots made up for the election. The community coordinator should be knowledgeable about these election procedures and ensure that the council is working in conjunction with these guidelines as they prepare to host their elections each year. Risk management. It's very important that as a community leader, you are very familiar with Section 18 of the Information Portal, Risk Management. It's also important that you continually uphold these policies and ensure the members of your community are aware and reminded of these policies on a regular basis. This section touches on very important things like facility and automobile insurance, liability, traveling, transportation, relationship and physical boundaries, emergency preparedness, health and safety, reporting and documentation, conflict of interest, and disciplinary action. It is important that the coaches, managers, and volunteers in your community are aware of the importance of accident and incident reporting. Even if a situation is deemed an insignificant behavioral issue or a minor medical injury, it's important that witnesses document it. This applies to accidents or incidents that involve athletes and volunteers, but also parents or spectators. This requirement has insurance-related ramifications and also affects things like an athlete's eligibility for health insurance coverage, endorsements for provincial or national games, and matters of community member discipline. It's very difficult for Special Olympics to support communities in these cases if incidents are not documented. Please take some time to go through the risk management section in detail so that you're familiar with the various standards to which our entire organization is held. If there are ever any questions regarding risk management, your district developer will be happy to help. Community Operating Guidelines. Community Operating Guidelines are a set of community-level operational policies and procedures. There is a template available through your district developer. It includes provincial policies to which the community must comply, but also it includes a section that is customizable within a given community. These community operating guidelines should be reviewed by council annually. Any changes to the community operating guidelines must be sent to and approved by the district developer, and then voted on at the annual members meeting before they can be adopted into policy. Please contact your district developer with further questions or concerns. Thank you so much for listening. This module is now complete.